Get ready to rumble. Welcome to Joe Jackson with Bob and TC on IntellectualRadio.com. Again, that's IntellectualRadio.com. I'm your host, B.O.B. Bob, but I will go by the name of Robert Lee or Jr. if you insist on being formal. From the south side of Chicago, Illinois, let's give it up for my main man, Marquise TC Wash Senior.
In the building.
TC, what's up?
Yeah, no, we got an intro for y'all too. And I'm enjoying. I know it's hot out there, but I'm not complaining because I do not want to be in no slush, ice and none of that. Get that.
I know.
AC.
You can't complain.
No,
like you can't complain about
AC
2 days of heat. When hit
or
something, I was going searching for AC units. I didn't have no luck though.
I
sold out everywhere.
I bet.
This was all the ones that's affordable is sold out.
Put it on the remote.
It was 330 air conditioning. Man, anyway, I want to bring up. First of all, we want to bring up this ceasefire event we went to last week. Intellectual Radio was out there. The whole Sunday crew was out there from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. The whole Sunday crew. We was out there with my man Al. This is his second annual ceasefire event. And it's a very big thing he's doing with the violence that's going on in Chicago. And I commend him. I tip my hat to what he done. I mean, he was be candid for him for a minute. He was a little frustrated because he didn't get the turnout the way he did last year. First of all, they get free haircuts out from 7 to 17, and senior citizens, they get free haircuts out. And this is an attempt for all of those voices who don't have a voice or don't have the courage to speak up in the neighborhood about what's going on. They throw this annual event so people can come out there and have a moment, to have a voice to say, hey, we don't like what's going on in our community, in our whole community, and so they put this event together, to create sponsorships and donorships, and, right. He's a barber. So his thing is to give out free haircuts. I think one of the reasons why I'm voicing it, I think so personally, is because when I seen one of his Facebook posts, it was disheartening because he was reaching out in a way that says, wow, it's like people telling me that I'm insignificant because I'm a barber. And I was thinking that's so American. American, as opposed to looking at the fact that a person stood up to reach and create this outreach to all of these different politicians, all of these different businesses to come together for a theme that is destroying the community. People look at your title and they'll look at your title and say, you're a barber though. You're not, you're not as influential as I am. You're not as plugged as I am. Who gives you the right to do that thing?
Well, I don't know. That's how he feels.
That's what his comment was.
Right, I respect that. I wasn't there to make him feel that, but the ceasefire is a nice event. 2 years we've been out there,
Yeah.
Earlier, let's chew gum out there, so it was cool, man. He wasn't tripping. I got this little new studio.
I chewed gum during the whole interview, too.
Now we're in the new place.
He don't let us chew gum in the studio.
Right, we're in the new place.
He act like put some gum under the table.
We had a bad experience by some
goofy like that.
Right, some goofy messed it up. But you did. I appreciate it. I took like 2 packs too. I'm gonna take advantage of this.
I took 3, and they all spoiled in my pocket. 2 days later.
Let's be real for a minute. I mean, come on. That event is nice, but it doesn't change nothing, because how can you not affected talking about ceasefire with a city and the mayor telling you go get you a gun and walk around with it? So that don't go together.
So you sound like you're advocate. You're a person that's against July 7th. Also, July 7th when Michael Flager, what's the name?
I want to march on the expressway.
Yeah, on the expressway. So you're against that kind of concept too?
Please, yes.
Why?
Because I mean, okay, you can get some news people out there and get some attention, but until you attack what's really the problem is, let's be real for a minute. All the bad guys and the gangbangers and the killers are not locked up. All have backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what it is in Chicago. It's not a mystery how it is in Chicago as far as violence.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving them guys the right to go to walk around with a gun and go get guns for all his friends, and then surprise the shooting go up. I mean, you don't see it as part of the plan. So I was against from day one. You can't have one protect yourself, your home. You can't own a gun. But if you really want to stop violence in Chicago, you're going to get a gangbangers on the street the right because they 21. They haven't been caught yet. You're going to give them the right to walk around with guns. And then you're going to be surprised when the shooting go up. Like, so, you don't think that's part of it? You don't think that there's no momentum to something like a ceasefire? No. There's no momentum to something like the, free haircuts are nice and everybody going to like it. It's not going to stop nothing because ceasefire is not going to get them dudes off that street. Them guys ain't at the park. Them guys in the blocks. Ceasefire is not about the guys at the park. It's about the community standing up. Right, but how you expect, I mean, be real, when they leave, when the ceasefire moment is over and all the free haircuts is gone, well, they got to deal with these people. So what do? You what do you do as a citizen, as somebody who is not in the gangbang world? I'm gonna be honest. What do you do? Like, you get out of there. So keep them over there. The whole move. The whole conversation. Move. You just gotta move because get out that environment. Let's be real for a minute. Listen. You gotta understand what you're up against. You see what Chicago is about. I'm not saying violence not everywhere, but you see what Chicago is about. It's corrupt. The man is corrupt. They getting caught with giving guns to the guys. The police getting caught taking guns from them to a free gun in with the pledge dude over there in St. Sabina. Yeah. But then them same guns being found back on the street with murders. Yeah. So let's be real for a minute. You got them. I ain't gonna lie, I got a dirty gun. He got murders. I would have my gun. But it was all said and done. My daddy always taught me to keep a dirty gun. It was all said and done. Everybody probably can't financially afford to do that. So I'm not knocking y'all, but if you can. Walter, I'm interested to hear your point. You supposed to get up out of there. I know we don't bring you in to work on this because I grew up in that and I made sure man is not gonna be a part of that. Man, I'm finna be growing up in the hundreds like I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you about moving. I don't agree. You have no control over that. You can pretend that you can go talk to these crooked aldermen. See, you guys been living in that. Now, I ain't saying you don't take it personal. I know. But y'all in that world like that stuff really matter. You gotta go where rappers is in this city where we live in our neighborhoods. They not for us. Okay? Now you taking a chance on the suburbs. Let's be real. The suburbs is not better either because you got crazy stuff going out there. But I know what you're not gonna do. So what do? You're not gonna sit in front of a liquor store gathered up out there. Okay. I tell you that, but you can walk in here in the road and be in the liquor store and they have a whole mob out there in the middle of the street. I'm not having my kids go through that. I made sure they ain't go through that. Right. And there's a difference. So you got if you can't, you see what you're up against out there. You see these guys out on the corner block. Go out there and try to make something to one of them guys. What's gonna happen? You're gonna get a charge. We're gonna talk about Willie Wilson. You're going to jail. Okay, it's called assault. You can't go beat the drug dealer out in the corner and tell him to get off the block. They want you put in your hands and not go and get the police because that's their job. They want you to take your neighborhood back. Go out there and find out what's gonna happen. You going to jail and he's going to jail. Yeah, but here's the thing, though, TC. Mm-hmm. Now, who's going to take No. Because you know my opinion, right? Now, my opinion is that any community is bad is because the men are bad in the community. Oh. That's my opinion. You always say that, but when somebody like Sunni Ali Powell stand up as a man in that community and stand up, I commend that. I never said I don't commend him for what he's doing, but no, when I'm saying based on the point. The point is, on my point, I feel like any community in America is bad is because of the men in the community is bad. Mm-hmm. And when you have men in the community stand up, there's unwilling to go run and move like you say, dude. They step down and they drop an angle. I'm just saying, I gave you your 15 minutes. You talk for about 15 minutes. Give me 2 more. I felt like 15. What you said, it felt like 15. I'm going my 5 back. Well, you don't need. I need to take 2 away from what you're saying. You don't need to deserve the whole 5 what you just said. Check this out. Drop an anchor, huh? No, that's right. That's right. If you live there, it's bigger than you. You got daughters, you got kids. Think about it, TC. Think about from Sunni Ali Powell's standpoint. He has a business there. Okay. He's a business owner there. He's a business owner there, right? He has nowhere to go. This is where he cannot go into Park Forest or maybe Tinley Park, and he might not drive the same buzz of making money. So he has to drop an anchor there. That's the whole concept of. I'm just saying, as a man, you can't just keep running all around. The world. You can't run all around the world. Let's be real. White people don't spend money with blacks.
White people don't go looking for black money.
We ain't talking about
or black businesses. White people don't do that. So black people gotta create businesses that black people will spend at, right? So for those men that create a business in that community, they gotta drop an anchor, and then you know how these young dudes are. If they see a crack in your armor, they'll run straight over you. So for you to say ceasefire, that's big. Just say it.
Listen, bro, I understand the heroic and all the points you make, when that's back to reality. You said, why don't want no turnout, right? Now, we understand the accolades and everything you tried to do. And point, now we got back to the facts. How many people was out there? Right. Let's go back to reality. And why? Right, now you say it was a loss, but you know what I'm saying.
I just said,
compared why though?
Yeah, why? Tell me why.
Because that you really think that worked? Because once they left last year, how many people get shot out there, Bob?
Right,
let's be real for a minute,
that's
man.
a whole different subject, though, TC.
You know that's why I'm trying to tell you. That's right, but it's a reason why. It's a reason. I'm not saying we are noble. I'm not saying we're doing this standing up. I'm not saying nothing that is wrong. But now we got to deal with the reality of what you're putting this flag in.
Okay, let me go ahead transition a little bit to Willie Wilson. Willie Wilson is running for Chicago mayor. And we interviewed him. We was fortunate enough to interview him. He came down. So I ain't never met no guy who said he was a sharecropper. I'm a sharecropper. He said he was a sharecropper in 7th grade education. The man is absolutely transparently awesome. I thought Willie Wilson was awesome. He got my vote from coming from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I don't even care if Rahm Emanuel people listen to me and cut my cable off, cut my lights off and stuff like that. I'm voting for Willie Wilson for mayor of Chicago. That is my personal. I enjoy meeting him. He said some things that was absolutely real. We posted the interview on Facebook. He just said some things that impressed me. He's impressive.
I'm hard to impress.
He's impressive. He's impressive.
Yeah, I give him his credit.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to get over the country sound a little bit. He's a little country.
He's
country. He's country, you know.
He spoke for real.
You say that, look here, that.
Right.
You say something like that during the interview. Look here, right. Look at him. You do one of those, you country, baby. I got a question for y'all for today. Just so y'all, I got a question for y'all for today. What state wouldn't you want to live in? What state wouldn't you live in? It can be more than one answer, because what state wouldn't you want to live in?
Wouldn't?
Yeah, wouldn't you live in? What state wouldn't you live in?
Massachusetts.
You can't say it right, first of all.
Massachusetts. I don't want to live nowhere near that. None of that area.
You take a better. You got more courage than I do. I wouldn't even try to say Massachusetts.
I'm telling you first.
Massachusetts. Did I say it right?
Massachusetts, not Massachusetts, brother.
Anyway. Go ahead. I'm like Willie Wilson's son or something. Go ahead.
Indiana.
I live in Hammond.
Wisconsin.
You would live in Hammond, Indiana?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, Dyer?
No, I wouldn't.
Wow.
I wouldn't want to live in Indiana.
Nah, I live in Dyer.
I won't live in Indiana. Period. I don't want to live in Indiana.
What other state?
Wisconsin.
You
know.
Okay.
That's all I can think of at the moment.
I wouldn't live in Mississippi. I would not live in Mississippi. I know it's stereotypical. My mom is from Jackson, Mississippi, but just
you wouldn't live in Mississippi?
No.
Because you why?
First of all, I wouldn't live in none of them Gulf of Mexico states. None of the stuff got water after Katrina. This was before Katrina, though. But I'm just saying, none of that right there. Alabama, all that right there. Houston, none of that got water. I wouldn't live in none of that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anwar Berry said he would. He got a few. Anwar said Mississippi, Kentucky, Louisiana, Alabama, or South Carolina. He wouldn't live.
Yeah, I wouldn't live in South Carolina either.
Why?
I don't even want to live down there. I want some.
My cousin Shirley, she said South Carolina.
Yeah,
your sister, Tashima, Watch Clark, she said too many to name. However, Mississippi to start.
What Mississippi?
She said next up, New York, and then rat infestation.
What's wrong? What Mississippi do? I miss it. I mean, everybody said Mississippi. What I'm missing?
Mississippi?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm missing?
They just look poor, man.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like one of those things. Like if you gonna stand up for where you standing there, why are you gonna run down there to something that look like it's in disarray? That's how Mississippi looked to me. You know.
Okay.
Daryl, that's one of his younger brothers.
Uh-huh.
He said he would not live in a state of denial.
Wow.
With that, That's a transition.
That was a cold response.
You gotta think about the transitions.
Yeah,
with that, we got a special guest in the building today. Her name is Angela Taylor. We're gonna after the break because he said state of denial, and that is perfect for the book she's authored, The Beauty and Vanity of Denial. I thought that was perfect. I ain't anticipate him saying it. I did not anticipate him saying it. So
Why?
Get all that love up here. Like if you got any ideas about a radio show, make sure you call the number 708-223-8953. Again, that's 708-223-8953. We have over how many shows, Earl? How many? 83 shows. We got more than 83 shows over on Intellectual Radio.
You gonna shout let's shout out?
That grew since last time I quoted 60.
That what's up. We're gonna shout out to
we got 3 different studios.
Go ahead.
We'll
give a shout out to Sandpaper's Live in Dalton. Gonna get you a little party set up. It's going down. Love to Chucky. Of course, I'm gonna say the Gut Entertainment. Birdcage the album. You can buy it on any music outlet. Of course, Travel with Trish. When you want to travel, we have a nice little person to hook you up with it. Get your traveling vacation.
You're listening to us on Facebook Live, but for whatever reason, the Facebook get interrupted. You can always catch our show on IntellectualRadio.com. IntellectualRadio.com. We're live streaming on IntellectualRadio.com right now. You also can catch our show on YouTube Live, which is live streaming right now on YouTube. Through you subscribe to the Intellectual Radio page on YouTube. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, you will subscribe to the Intellectual. I got stuck for some reason.
I don't know why. You said every week.
I know every week. I need some chapstick on.
Denial.
I'm in denial. But anyway, on the other side of the break, we'll be bringing up our special Miss Angela Taylor. This is our first interview, so we're gonna give her a courtesy 2 minutes of being nervous. But after that, we're going straight in on her. Okay. So she'll be able. She brought up a security guard with her. You're listening to Joe Jackson with Bob and TC
on IntellectualRadio.com.
Now, this is really interesting to me. Ray Kroc. I want you to kind of give a brief story on the Ray Kroc story about how you got fired from McDonald's. Now, me and you both got fired. I got fired from McDonald's too. It was for a whole different reason. You got fired.
I think I fired you, I believe. You know?
Talk about that. How you went from getting fired from McDonald's.
Yeah.
To meeting Ray Kroc.
Well, look,
this is crazy, right?
I was down on my luck. I had got married then and divorced for a kid. And so, well, look, we didn't have anything. So I figured like this. If I have nothing, financially, pick up the phone, call a guy, ask for an interview with him. And I went to the shareholder meeting and asked him for McDonald's. Well, he couldn't do it, say yes or no. If he had said no, I'd have came back with the same thing I went up there with. So I came back, he gave me a McDonald's. In less than 3 or 4 years, 2.5 years, I had 5.
So wait. Ray Kroc gave you a McDonald's.
Gave me McDonald's.
In 3 or 4 years, you turned it into 5 McDonald's. Why did he give you one?
What did you say?
Right.
Look. Like I said, I had nothing. You go to something, you come back, I came back with something. But if I didn't get anything,
right,
I'd have came back the same way I went.
Correct.
So everything.
So you had something to lose.
Welcome back to Joe Jackson with Bob and TC on IntellectualRadio.com. Again, that's IntellectualRadio.com. The call-in number is 7. I'm sorry, Earl. Oh, Earl always pitching something. Yeah, I was just playing a clip from Willie Wilson interview. You know what I'm saying? He want me to let y'all know he was playing a clip from the Willie Wilson interview, which was extraordinary for Intellectual Radio.
Next time I find a part when I'm talking, not Dwayne. Let that be known. That wasn't brother TC talking. I don't know why Earl put the Wayne part on there. Cut that, Earl. That's my part and play in the background.
Okay.
Yeah,
established, man. You know you crazy, man. Hey, for real. But anyway, look, that was a great interview. It was a great energy, great moment for Intellectual Radio, you know. But I guess is in the building today. TC, let's bring it in. What a warm welcome, From the west side of Chicago, Illinois. Let's give it up for Miss Angela Taylor in the building. Miss Taylor, what's up? How you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Good. How you doing? Good. Let me tell everybody, first of all, she's one of the people that's plugged at the YMCA that I go to. There you go, picture TC, a Kodak moment. TC, Kodak moment.
Picture time in it.
There you go. Ta-da! Yeah, she's one of the plug members. I didn't realize so many people that was plugged going to the YMCA that I go to. I had no idea. To be honest with you, I had no idea it's just close to my house. So I started working out going there. But when I go there, during Black History Month, they had this whole board full of people that was doing different stuff in the community. And, I actually been finding people that has been guests on our show, right? But with her, she wasn't on the board. So I must be honest. She was doing a cardio type
kickboxing
type class, man. She kicked way over her head, man. I was walking past and I seen her kick way over her head, like, yeah, I'm talking about a real kick. Like, your hamstrings got to be good, man, for this type of kick. And I was like, man, I need to go on that class right there.
What that sound like to me, right?
But what it sound like?
Nothing. Go ahead, Bob.
Man, anyway. I'm a man, so right. I'm a man, so you need, if you think about flexibility, you want a woman to be flexible, not a man, right? So that is the thought,
right?
So I went in there and talked to her about her classes, her pattern, and she got to talking about her book. But to some of the women in her class, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some of the members in your class, and you said you wrote the book a few years ago, 2 years ago, to be exact.
Yes.
And you was kind of like guardedly shy about talking about the book. Now I read a lot of this book. Now I ain't gonna say
not all of it.
I ain't read all of it,
okay,
because it's a novel. I mean, if you look at this, this is a novel.
It's almost 320 pages.
320 pages. Okay, be fair to me. I just got the book yesterday, so I read more than half of it. But anyway, I want you to talk about your authorship, you being an author, your book, and a portion of the motivation behind it. And welcome to Jaw Jacking.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still kind of settling into my authorship. I just really started talking about my book within the last 3 weeks. I've been teaching at the YMCA since August of last year, and I just started telling people about my book. And I just decided one day, well, why am I not? This is my area of expertise. This is where I am. Why am I not talking about my book? Why am I not promoting it to the people who may need it? And so I just started talking about it, and you happened to be there one day when I was talking about, actually, it wasn't to my class, it was people that were coming in from another class. And I was talking about my experience, and the whole thing about the book is it's about my experience with anxiety and depression and how I worked my way out. And I did seek therapy. And therapy is where I was actually diagnosed with depression. I didn't know what was going on with me at the time. And I started experiencing anxiety attacks. And I was well into my 40s. I was close to 50 by this time. And I started experiencing anxiety attacks.
You're only 51 now, like so.
I'm 52.
Right.
But I didn't know what was going on with me, and my therapist diagnosed me with depression.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like an aha moment for me, because I always felt like something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And when she said depression, and I think you've been depressed probably most of your life, I was like, oh my God, that's what it is. But in talking to her and listening to the things that she had to tell me about how to pull myself out, and talking to me about my past, it really helped me talking to her, because I didn't really have anybody in my life at that point in time that I could just unload a lot of stuff on. Some things you don't want people to know about your life. You don't want people to know about your past, about your parents, about your family situations. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to about the stuff that I went through as a little kid and how I felt about it. But I was able to do that in therapy. So that's one of the things that therapy really helped me with. And I know there's a lot of people who feel like you don't have anybody to really talk to, so that your information, your problems, your issues don't go anywhere else, because you don't want everybody to know, about stuff. And so in the book, I actually talk about, if you feel like you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, and you don't really have anybody to talk to, go seek out a therapist. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. You just need somebody to talk to. A lot of us we have all of these emotions and all of this intellectual stuff that we can't get rid of. And it causes conscience. It causes be able to progress in different areas of our lives. And I talk about in the book the 8 areas of the circle of life, because we have different areas of life. And some areas we may be able to progress because we may have, I talk about the denial stories. We have denial stories in different areas of life, and multiple layers of denial stories that keep us from progressing, that keep us from having the success that we want, that keep us from taking the next step towards whatever it is that we want. And the denial story is a fact. It may be a fact. It may be a fact that you're having conflict within your relationship. It may be a fact that you're not making enough money. It may be a fact that you don't have enough energy to do whatever it is that you need to do. That may be a fact, but what is it that you really want? So that denial story is in place. It tells you don't have enough energy to exercise. You need to exercise. You need to do it on a regular basis, but you don't have the energy, or you don't have the time, or you don't have the money to purchase a membership. So some of us let those stories, those denial stories, those facts stop us from even taking the next step. Well, okay, I know I need to exercise. I know I need to be more healthy. I know I want to feel better, but I don't have the money. I don't have the energy.
What are the 8? What are the you just mentioned 8
areas of the circle of life.
Name them.
So we have our body and our body health, our mental health, our emotional health, our finances, our relationships, our career and lifestyle, our energy, and our spirituality. And spirit are having problems with communicating, feeling connected to our spouse, feeling connected to the family members, feeling connected even to our friends. That's a part of our spirituality. We feel disconnected from people, and we feel alone. We may feel isolated, and we feel alone, but that's not the truth. That's just the story that we tell ourselves.
I want to get TC engaged in this conversation because I want to ask you a few questions just off of things that depress people. What things do you think on the surface that really depress people? And I know that question goes out to more than just us sitting on it, because you're talking about things that depress people. But I always think about it as a perspective, like and always the American perspective. Mm-hmm. We get depressed over things that a lot of people in the world, wouldn't get depressed about if they had, the plethora of our benefits. And we get depressed over stuff like this, the things that happen in America. I just want to hear y'all takes on, like, what things do y'all think depress people that is got that you don't need to go to no doctor, you need to make some different decisions, or the things that you felt like depressed you that you didn't realize that they sent you to depression, because I know you mentioned that in your book, right? So I just want to hear y'all takes on that.
You go ahead.
Okay.
I was going to ask her the same thing.
Go ahead. Sure.
Okay. So the things that depress people are pains. It's usually some kind of pain. And when I say pain, I'm not talking about a physical pain. It's an intellectual pain. It's something that we think about that doesn't feel good. It hurts. So that's a pain. And it could be something that makes you angry. It could be something that makes you frustrated on a regular basis. Right. It could be something that makes you sad on a regular basis. This isn't something, we all feel these things. We all have these emotions, but when you're depressed, usually you feel these more often and you feel it deeply. You feel it more, with more intensity than you would regularly or normally feel them. So you feel angry, you feel sad, you feel anxious, all of these things, and anything can make you feel depressed, and especially if it's something that continues for a long period of time and you're unable to get out of the situation, or you feel like you can't get out of the situation. And so what you're feeling is all of these stories that you have. For instance, you may, I'll say, when you were a kid, somebody told you that you were fat and short, and now that's their story. It's not your story, but you can pick that up and say, well, am I really that way? And then you start feeling that about yourself. It becomes your story. Now it's your story. You feel that way about yourself. So whenever somebody says something to you, you really feel it deeply. And you carry this throughout your life. This feeling of being ugly because I'm fat, and they said it. They said I'm fat, especially if it's your parents or someone that loves you, someone that's dear to you, and you believe that whatever they said to you is true. You take that story and you internalize it. Now it's your story, and it's painful to think about. You don't want to think about your mother or your father saying something like that hurts you so deeply.
Let me say this though, Angela, because I don't know if I want to go into it. Like I want to go into it from a different angle. I want to go into it from an angle that everybody can relate to. Like some of my depression comes from, or some of the moments that I feel like I was depressed, it came from cockiness, arrogance. You know what I mean?
Depression.
Yeah, because it's like expectations. I expect things to be a certain way. So when I have those failures of it not being that way, then it sends me spiraling in a certain way. You know what I mean? So it's like I want to make it relevant to more than just us, like somebody calling you ugly when you was scared or fat. No, I'm talking about the cocky things, the failures that send you to depressing too.
Well, you're talking about a behavior, because those things, okay,
right? Because
the reason why you're cocky.
Let me say this though, because of what you just said, the behaviors. I believe that. I believe behaviors send us spiraling to these moments.
Yes.
I do. I do. I believe it does, because that's why I always call it perspective. Because some people I know people that get depressed because they spoiled. They've been spoiled. And when they don't get something they want, next thing you know, they suicidal. I know depression's like that. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna mention people that I know personally, but it's more than just saying somebody, demeaning you. It's more than just that.
It's not just, it's not, that's not what I said. It's not just them demeaning you. It's the feeling.
Okay.
It's the feeling that comes from that.
Okay.
So it's not just that, it's how you feel about that, how you take that in. It becomes a part of who you believe you are. And if that hurts, and if it continues to hurt, and people continue to say those things, and you continue to feel those things, it becomes depressed, because you're pressing down these feelings. You don't want to feel them because they hurt, but they're still there. So you're pressing down these feelings every year, every decade. You're pressing down these. That's what it is, depression. You're pressing down all of these feelings that you don't want to feel, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what the behavior is. What causes it first is in here. It's in your mind, because somebody can say to you, you're fat and you're ugly, and you don't believe it. So it's not your story. You don't feel it. It doesn't hurt, and it doesn't matter. But then you have some people who really feel that. Do you understand? Who really feel the pain of that?
Go ahead, TC. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm listening. I want to hear everything out, but it just sounds like to me, depression comes from somebody with no self-esteem.
It can be low self-esteem.
You have no self-esteem.
But it's an actual chemical imbalance that occurs, right?
Yeah, there is a chemical imbalance that occurs in the brain, and sometimes you need medication for it.
Right.
But then it's also a part of your lifestyle. There are so many dimensions to it. But some people don't need medication, but some people do, because there's a balance that happens in there, and you can't get it right. So the medication is what regulates that. But then there's also a thought process behind it. There's a thought process behind it. So when you feel like you're in pain, what do you usually do when you're in pain? Physical pain. What do?
You say, ouch.
And what if it doesn't go away? It's
doctor.
so painful, you can't
doctor.
stand it.
Right.
What do? You
go to the doctor or you pray.
I go to the doctor to get some medicine.
I pray.
So have you ever been angry for a long period of time? Have you ever felt sad for a long period of time and you weren't able to pull yourself out of it?
No.
Have you ever?
My mama passed, I was sad, but I pulled myself out of it.
Okay. So you've never been.
What's your point, though?
I want to answer, but
I want to hear a point, though.
On what this?
I want to finish your point, then go ahead.
Because it's a what I'm getting to is that there's a pain that comes along with the thoughts that we have. And sometimes we don't understand because it's not a physical pain. So we can't connect to it. It's not a physical pain. So people don't understand depression. Like when I was married at the time, and I'm no longer married to him, but he didn't understand it. Some of my family members didn't understand it, even though there's a lot of information out there about it. And I try to get the information, don't need it. But there's also things that you need to start thinking about, because when you're in depression, deep in depression, all of your thoughts are painful. It's not like somebody can come in and say, well, let's go to a party and you feel better, or you're doing something that you enjoy and you automatically feel better. All of your thoughts are really dark. It's like you can't pull yourself out of that. And that's why some people have to go into therapy and take medication. But there's maintenance to that, because you have to change your thoughts. You have to change your lifestyle, because when you're depressed, you don't want to take care of yourself. You don't feel like taking care of yourself. So that's why some people end up committing suicide. Because you're in this dark place and you feel like you can't come out of it. So it's not just.
I mean,
go ahead.
What are symptoms of depression? Because I don't want to say I'm depressed. I don't know what are some, like, is it common symptoms of depression?
Yeah, you can feel overwhelmed. You can feel exhausted. You can feel extremely sad.
So what?
You feel like you can't think. You feel confused. You can't think straight.
Well, I haven't been depressed in my life yet, and I don't want to be.
Well, not everybody.
Because it seems to me now, it seems to me like it's something lacking in you. Because what was you doing? Were you stripping? What are you doing that you living in that you can't step out of? What about you? Why you couldn't?
Because of the stories. That's why I talk about that. The example of the story with the little boy or the little girl who was told that they were fat, they were ugly or stupid or whatever. And sometimes people can't let go of that story. They feel it so deeply. They can't let go of that story.
But those people are considered what? Weak? No self-esteem? Because somebody call you fat and ugly, you're going to walk around and hurt yourself? So what kind of mindset is that? I don't mean no personal attack, but this is my view of this. Because I'm not sad when nobody commits suicide. I'm glad they gone with them. It could have been my brother they killed. So I don't have no sympathy in that. I'm just saying I feel. I don't, because to me, to hurt yourself, I don't even want to know why you do it, but I'm glad you got it out the way.
Sometimes there's something happens that's epiphany. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to bring my man Walter in. I want Walter to join this conversation. I promise you, I'm going to finish your interview, but I'm going to do it in the midst of a panel.
Okay.
So you're going to get your interview finished. But I want Walter to join this conversation because sometimes things happen for a reason. Walter came for a reason. We didn't know he was coming today. He came today. And I want to bring him in the conversation so we can have a more balanced type of conversation that can touch more than one subject. I don't want to feel like we attack you just off of the way it is. I know it's your first interview and I want to make sure it's still beautiful when you walk away from it. You get it?
Yes.
I don't want you to overthink it.
Okay.
Right? So on the other side of the break, we're going to bring our man Walter. Say his last name for me.
Beckley.
Welcome. Welcome back to Jaw Jacking with Bobby TC on IntellectualRadio.com. Welcome back to Jaw Jacking with Bobby TC on IntellectualRadio.com. I know we didn't anticipate that type of goofiness. And she's like, wait a minute, that's not professionally sound. Welcome back to Jaw Jacking with Bobby TC. Anyway, hey TC, let's give it up for our guests, all the guests. For Richmond Park, Illinois. Let's give it up for Walter. In the building. Walter, what's up, man?
Hey, it's good to be here.
Man, I heard you've been on all 20, 30 shows on Intellectual Radio. You ain't never been on Jaw Jacking.
No, it's first time. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, man, we're glad you came through, man. How you doing, man? What's going on? Tell everybody what you do real quick, man.
I'm the founder of Radiant Living, and what I do at Radiant Living is help people to activate, cultivate, and learn to get in touch with their energy so they can heal and release the stress and the trauma and the things that are going on in their lives that are stopping them from getting what they want.
Right. That's
Got it?
Yeah. Hey, TC, let me tell you something, TC. I ain't talking to Walter and I'm not talking to Angela right now. I'm talking to TC.
All right.
I looked up Walter on Facebook. I sent him a Facebook request, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, this can't be the guy, man. This dude was in a complete, well, I don't know what you call it, a backflip. But what do you call it when you on your knee, when you're on your back bend? Yeah, like a back bend. Like you're on your shins and your knees is on the ground and you all the way back. Oh, yeah. Like your back on the ground, that position. I said, this can't be the guy. I said, this can't be him. It was him though, man. What is that you do?
Well, basically it's a form of yoga, but basically what I do is a lot of Qigong and Tai Chi forms of stretching, energetic forms of working the body to get this energy to flow. And this is from this energy, I'm able to help and read people's energy and help them to understand what's going on. As you were sharing about the stuff that's going on, was this me or is this not me? What's going on? But I'm able to help you find that stuff because this is all about energy. What's going on? We talked about earlier, and you said you want me to remember what we've talked about with in the neighborhoods, what was happening. All that's going on is energy. It's bound up, blocked up, stopped up energy and the expression that people have that they want to share about their lives and they can't. And so because of the stress and the trauma that they have, you end up with the shooting and the violence and the negativity that's going on. And the powers that be know this happens and they set it up so that it continues to happen. Because
I agree with that.
Because with us in the state of consciousness and state of action that we're in, we're doing exactly what they want in the way of population control and to zeroing this population as fast as possible, and we're doing it for them.
What do we do? What do we do? My buddy D Money said Tai Chi, good stuff. My buddy said Tai Chi, good stuff. Lancer, he said mental illness needs to be addressed in our community. How true is that? Because basically what you do is about energy, and what you're exposing is about the release of denial. Because I want y'all don't know, Angela brought two people with her today. She's Angela Taylor, the author, and then she's Denial. So she got a poem that she want to read as Denial. So
okay,
this is apparently some type of way you cope, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I wanted to ask you about the energy. I wanted to ask you about the energy that we was talking about.
Yes.
So what do we do? Like when TC was saying, this is not even. And this is not beneficial, throwing another pep rally, another march, another ceasefire. This stuff is not relevant.
Until we change energetically and consciously what's going on. It's like you have a record and it has a skip in it. Remember the old records? You put the needle on there and it goes, and it keeps playing that part over. And so what happens is we keep trying to just say, well, do this and do this, but you still got that skip in the record. And we keep coming back to that part. No matter how we start the needle back over, come back, you get to that part, and there we are again. And so brothers and sisters feel good communicating, but then they come back, go back home, and they start over again, and they get to that place where that irritation, you're pushing up against the person, and guess what? The violence starts again. What do you got to do? You got to remove this pushing and this irritation that's inside the person that makes them want to become violent. Until you get rid of that, that's the stress, that's the trauma. Those are the things that are blocking them physically, mentally, and emotionally from being able to express who we really are. We all come here, wanting to do that. You look at a baby, man. A baby is like beaming with all his energy and his love and his light, and then all of a sudden it gets in this environment, and all it comes up against is negativity. All it sees is death and destruction and families and loved ones. And it's not just in our community. We can see this all over, even with the Islamic community. You see it over in Israel. What's going on there? How they have the Palestinians, and the violence is going on. Fortunately, most of their violence is going towards they can see their enemy and they're willing to fight their enemy. We're not willing to fight our enemy, so we fight each other.
Because we're friends with the enemy.
We keep trying to become one with the enemy, and the enemy doesn't want to become one with us, and we think that somehow master or
what do we do?
We could be one with them.
What do we do with that reality?
I'm sorry, Bob. Can you say it again? Can you say the last part again? Because I've been saying this all through Jacket for years. So now it's been stated more eloquently. Okay, so he's gonna say it again. Can you please say the last part again?
We're trying to become one with Master, and Master don't want us in his big house.
Thank you. Okay, Bob.
What do we do with that reality?
We gotta recognize that we have to take care of ourselves, and what Angela's bringing out, these stories that Master, that these I wanted to change even when I say Master, I want to say the Black enslavers have told our ancestors, and our ancestors have just carefully carved and told us the stories, and we believe the stories, and we've taken these stories, and they become our stories, and we don't even know that these stories are destroying us because of the fact that we really feel this is who we are. This has nothing to do with who we are. You have to understand,
it's just the story.
400 years of these stories, and we're still thinking, we can talk about each other. We can talk about each other's the hair, the colors of our variations of Black people, and whatever it is, and we destroy each other as opposed to uplifting and building each other.
Well, you come on as two people too. You also two people. You're Walter. You're this energy guy, but you also publish.
Yes.
Angela's book.
Yes.
So I want you to talk about the fact you publishing her book, and I also want you to introduce Denai so Denai can do her piece.
All right. So one of the things that when Angela came to me with this concept, it was a brilliant concept because the stories are like the software. You see, our physical bodies are like hardware, and we have to bring them back in alignment. But sometimes if you got bad software inside of the computer, you're going to keep having problems, right? So that's what's happened with these stories. We got bad software in our computers, and these stories are destroying us. And so what she has done brilliantly is to share these concepts and ideals of how to actually unveil these negative emotional stories that for her, she recognized created depression in her life. Everybody in the community, I would say 99.9% of the folks are dealing with negative emotional stories that are destroying us because of the fact nobody has shown it what it's meant to be back in zero, to be back in balance, to be free. And so freedom is our true state of consciousness. And when we have freedom, we recognize that we are, what they say that song, we are one. Who's that? Frankie Belly?
Yeah.
And that's the truth. But the fact is, just because you say it doesn't stop you from keep skipping and starting the needle over and getting back to the same place, and you and your partner hammering it out again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the stories come in. That's what the stories do. The denial stories are the things that stop us from taking the next step, from seeking help.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so what I do in my work is I have a practice. Mm-hmm. What I do is help people to release these stories, and she also takes you through, but I help you through to release them all the way down into like the cellular level where your system starts and people feel like something lets go and they feel free. And she helps you identify what these stories are.
So should we give Denai a drum roll?
Let's hear from Denai.
We give her a soft drum roll. Let's give it up for Miss Denai.
I am the CEO of the Denial Corporation. I've been around since the beginning of man, and I've grown more sophisticated and complicated with each millennium. I tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Well, I tell my truth, my version of your truth. I'm creative and efficient. I have mastered my craft. I am your guru, the oracle of your secrets. I am queen and commander, director of your operations. I'm covert and adaptable to any situation. Leading from my throne, I conquer and claim spaces devoid of truth for my kingdom. I am the author of your experiences. I am the opinion you cling to in the morning and the voice that echoes in your dreams. It's my responsibility to create the best stories that encourage you to feel better about your situations. I invoke my power upon you. You may think of me as an invisible orator or a gorgeous phantom rocking a beautiful dress. Or you may think of me as an apparition physician here to give you a better prognosis. Or you may think of me as your shadow friend. Yeah, you may call me friend. And you are undeniably my captive audience.
Oh man, that was so smooth, and that was all that. But I want you to read this one right here so we can debate.
Where's my money?
I want you to read that one so me and TC have some ammunition to debate with.
Where's my money poem? The affirmations aren't working. Has God been listening? I have gone to church every Sunday. Has God been watching? I closed my eyes and prayed after I wrote the check for my tithes. I put my last dollar in the offering this morning. Did God notice? In the Bible, a woman gave all she had, and she was blessed with more. I know his word. I gave the change from my car to the bag lady who stands in the street holding a sign. That was my good deed. Where is my money? When is it coming? I don't see it anywhere. Come on, God. I know that you know I need it. I didn't go to the boat last week. I didn't put that diamond I wanted on my card this time. I didn't even go out with my friends Friday. I have sacrificed a lot. When is my money going to get here? I need it right now. What else do I need to do to get your attention? Shout. I know you work in quietness, but my mind is too cluttered, worrying about my money drought. God, why are you holding on to my blessing? Where are you? Somewhere resting?
Now, my question is like, I mean, that feeling you had that went through your system. I know millions of Black Americans who believe in, believe in the belief system that they believe in, felt that. They feel that like they waiting on something. Do you what do you feel sometimes that waiting was in vain, or do you feel as though you needed to correct something more out of yourself? Or I want to hear the thought process behind where that had you to write that, like, because it's an entitled sound to me.
Mm-hmm.
You feel, hey, you ain't recognize it. I paid my tithes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where's my money? Mm-hmm. Where's my blessing? The thing that'll get me into a position of being influential beyond anything I possibly could personally imagine. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You ain't getting it to me like you said. Right? Mm-hmm. I want you to talk about it.
Oh, that poem comes from the financial area in my book. And I wrote it because it was something that I felt. And the reason why it's even in the book is because it's a part of denial, in that sometimes we have these issues with money, issues with managing money, issues with trying to make more money, issues with getting promotions, issues around relationships, like work relationships, career relationships, that we don't realize we have, that's from making more money, that stop us from attracting more money, that stop us from getting the promotion, that stop us from making a different career choice, that stops us from seeing the opportunities that are right there available. But because of these stories that I always come back to, because of these stories that we have, we can't see the opportunity. One of the things that I always think about when I talk about stories is that whenever we have something that we want to do, we have a goal in mind, whether it's to lose weight or to have more. We want to be a millionaire or a billionaire. And the story will pop up that tells you, well, I can't do that because I need to go back to school in order for me to make more money. I have to have a degree in order to make more money. That's not necessarily true. There are a lot of people who are millionaires, billionaires that don't have a degree. So how did they do it? They don't have this story. And even if they do have the story, it didn't stop them from becoming what they wanted to be. So what is it? What's the difference? What's the difference between me and the person who becomes the millionaire or billionaire? It's nothing but a story that stops me from doing whatever it is that's necessary for me to take the next step that will lead to the next step, that will lead to the next step, that will lead to me becoming whatever it is that I want to be. There's just a story.
But here's the thing, though. Like, let's be honest with you. What Angela Taylor is talking about to a lot of people that's, within some realm of our circle, some black people that's in our circle, what Walter is talking about, y'all sound like some articulate clowns to a lot of people. How do you break through? How do you make me feel it? How do you make me motivated? What are you saying? Sometimes I know it's just your personal experience. That's one thing, but it sounds like it could be clownish sounding, and I please don't take that as personally, like that's my personal feeling. But I'm trying to get to a solution. Like, how do we connect these intense, intimate moments of everything that's poured out in you to the masses, to the point where the masses can relate, to the point that they say, man, this just sounds like a good poetry book. This sounds like, kinetic energy. You know what I'm saying? You're doing a bunch of stretching, you're doing a bunch of yoga.
What we have to understand is that everything starts in the mind. It doesn't start when we start doing something else. Everything starts in the mind. So when you have a goal, you don't continue to think about, okay, I have this goal. This is where I want to go. The next thing is, where do I want to go and how do I get there? That starts here.
But sometimes one of the things I think that to even go before that is like people have to see it. When people see it, then they start to believe it. So one of the things that I do a lot in my work is to demonstrate what energy is, so people understand, like, okay, I'm talking about energy, but I ask the question, how many of you have felt your energy? Have you ever felt your energy before? Have you ever felt your energy before?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So you're right. Exactly. So it sounds far-fetched. So one of the first things I'll do is have everybody just do this. Shake your hands for a moment.
Okay.
Shake them. Just shake them. And your audience,
wherever you're sitting, shake your hands, baby. Shake your hands. D-Money, I see you. Shake your hands. Lance, right? Shake your hands. QB.
Don't make them stiff. Just shake them. And now what I want you to do is just hold them out there and then just let them relax. Money. You feel tingling?
Yeah.
You feel tingling? Bring your hands close together and you start to feel like something's in there. Not touching, but just pull it apart. You may feel like something's in there. You may feel a little warmth.
Yeah.
You feel some warmth?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you pull it out a little bit.
Longer than you, Bob.
That's okay. And relax your hands just a little bit more. Yours is stiff. That's why.
Mine stiff.
Yeah, that's why you ain't gonna feel it when it's stiff. You pull it apart and you pull it apart. Okay, like an accordion. You feel that?
I feel that energy.
You feel?
You
can shake them again. Sometimes just shake them again.
Start over.
Yeah, that's right. We can start over.
Let me start over.
And it's important. I like for people to pretend like they got a belief that it's happening. Okay. You need to know.
Relax
your
fingers.
Your fingers so hard, man. Your fingers so hard.
What? Let them go still. Let them
fingers so hard.
Now, right there. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Trying to be out cute.
Red fingers, man.
No, let them go. You still go, man. You gotta let them go.
Hey, man. Trying to do the sexy handshake. Yeah.
Now relax them.
You don't feel that?
Let them go. Let them go.
They ain't go far. I feel it too. I'm not trying to be still.
Yeah, I know, it's okay. Now bring them together again. See, you can feel.
I mean,
feel something.
I feel it. His hands are hot.
Yeah.
My hands is just built like that.
No, but okay. Now here again. So what we're looking at is now how many people out there felt that? Say, put a yes in there that you felt. Just type in yes.
If you put yes, you felt it. Put yes in there. You gotta shake your hands. You felt it. Come on, man. You gotta shake your hands. D-Money, did you shake your hands? Go ahead.
All right. So now that's one way. Now another way we deal with, we'll just show people, and I've done it on the radio show quite a few times here, is to show how it looks when we take a word and we apply it. So can I use you?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me have you stand up for a moment. All right, Brother TC here. And so I'm going to just have him just hold this arm out right here. And I'm going to just push down on this arm. Hold it up nice and strong.
Good.
Hold it up. All right, good. Nice, very strong. Okay. Brother lifting weights and all that good stuff. Now, I want you to think for a moment. Say, I am love.
I am love.
Hold this up. Okay. Now, I want you to think about the fact that, the people don't like you. Just people don't like you. All right? People don't like you. You got it?
Okay, people
Don't like you. Feel that inside? And what's happening with your arm? You're trying hard, though.
That was crazy.
You see what?
That was crazy. I saw it.
You see what just happened?
Yeah.
So, but I want to fix that because of the fact people do like you, right? People like you. Nice and strong. Okay. All right, so relax. So what I just demonstrated was how powerful words and Angela's stories. Now, if you can imagine if a couple of word phrases here, just people don't like you, you get weak. Now imagine what happens when you have a whole story that you're telling yourself. And this is what happens when you talked about the depression. You see, those stories go in and they make you weak. And those feelings of weakness keep compounding, more stories, and then those stories get bigger than life. And all of a sudden now you're like stuck down. And guess what? And all you need is for somebody to step or try to take over your corner or whatever little piece of this world you think you have, and you're ready to shoot over some turf that's not even yours.
That's deep.
That's really deep, man.
Wow.
And that's based on energy. So how do we get more connected with what's called awareness of our energy?
And this is
In
what
that
I
way.
teach. This is what I teach. I teach classes, and we work together to help people uncover these stories, and then we go in and we find these stories of people don't like you or whatever it is, and clear that stuff out of your system, so that you can recover outside of these stories.
Wow, that's pretty hard, man. That's pretty
Yeah.
hard. I never seen no.
Yeah, that's
D-Money said, he said we did that same exercise with TC arm we did in grade school. He said it works without the words.
Yeah, it can work without the words as well.
Right. Okay.
I can sit here and I can just think of the thought. But here, what I really do is when somebody comes to me and they say to me, I'm having problems with my money, getting money in my life, and I go through and I look and I figure out what's happening. Sometimes I can touch, sometimes I can think, and I can help them find out what happened. So I work with people all the way back. They're 4 or 5 years of age, and they realize these stories, how they were beat by their mother, or young lady I like to talk about who came to me when she was 9 years of age. Her mother brought it to me. And one of the things that happened, her father wasn't in her life, and she was having a little emotional issues as a little 9-year-old. But she came in, and I did a little this work with her, and we cleared the thing. And this little girl looked at me in the eyes at the end of it. She said to me, "Thanks for removing the knot of confusion that was in my mind," because she felt clear. Because kids can get it, but when we get older, it gets a little harder to get rid of this stuff. Now, the thing was, her father lived about a mile away, but she hadn't seen him since she was 5. So he'd been gone 4 years. We did that work. She felt clean inside. The next day they get home from school and work, they get a call from the father on the answering machine saying, "The church is having a picnic. I like to pick my daughter up and take her to the picnic." You see what just happened? You cleared up the story. We cleared the story that was going on inside of her. And that story was no more. And that left room, a gap. And this father came in. You know what the father eventually told the mother after a few weeks of keep coming around the daughter, trying to be with the daughter? He said to her, "I don't know what it is, but I feel so compelled to be in my daughter's life now." You see?
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, whatever the daughter was thinking, and her thought was this, that she saw her daddy drive away in a semi truck, and she saw the chains hanging off the semi truck. So she put in her mind the story was that her dad was chained inside the semi truck driving this big truck at 5 years of age. And that's why he couldn't come and visit her. And for 4 years, in her mind, so strong, the child mind is very strong, he's driving his truck and can't figure out why he can't come see his daughter. You understand?
Yeah.
That's how powerful we are.
Yeah. First of all, you're listening to Jaw Jacking with Bob on Intellectual Radio with our guest today, Walter Beckley, and the author, Miss Angela Taylor. I want you to tell everybody where you can get a copy of your book real quickly.
Okay. You can go to beautyandvanity.com/special. And you can purchase the book there. It's $19.97, and I will also have a live webinar, which will be held Thursday, July 12th at 7 p.m. You can opt in if you would like to view the webinar. You have to opt in. You can opt in at the same place, beautyandvanity.com/special, and you will get an email from me in which you will get a link so that you can view the webinar. And the webinar, I'll be talking about my book. I'll be talking about my experiences. I'll be talking about a new program that I have that's called How to Rewrite Your Life.
Okay. Also, I want to shoot some stuff at the whole panel real quick, and I want y'all to answer as freely as you can. We got about 40 minutes left of the show, and I want y'all to just shoot off the top of your head. TC, you with me, brother?
Oh yeah.
Okay. This is 30 steps of denial. Okay, this is in the book, chapter 13. Right. I just want to. I'm gonna just shoot stuff at random, and I want y'all to chime in however y'all feel. Okay. Number one, examine my life in its current state. How do you examine your life in its current state?
Look at it. Acknowledge what's going on at the time, at the moment. Acknowledge the stories that are going on in the moment, and that acknowledge how you feel in the moment and how you feel about what's going on in the moment.
All right, okay. So what she's saying, and what I would add would be that you make a list. You make a list first off of what you want in life, where you're headed, the goals and things that you want. Then you look at what it is that's stopping you from getting what you want. And you make a list about, if say, for instance, I want to take a trip to New York, that write down also what's stopping me from going to New York on that particular date. So I'm really clear. And then maybe it's about I need to get a new credit card so I can get a hotel or get a car when I get there. Or so these are the things I need to do to make that happen. Then I look at my past experiences on my trips and say, have I been able to take the trips that I wanted to take? Okay. And then I look at, okay, what has stopped me on those trips also? So why didn't I take that trip? Because more than likely, that same thing that stopped you before from taking that trip is when the same thing going to pop up and stop you from taking this new trip. You understand? Mm-hmm. So you start to go to work on those things. So there's some things that I look at things from goals and results. What's going to get me the results? What's stopping me from getting results? And if I can't get over what is stopping me from getting the results, then I may need help. And this is where we have to learn. Michael Jordan recognized early on his career needed help. Greatest basketball player there was. He needed help. So what did he do? He got a trainer. He worked with a trainer to help him to improve his game. Not that the trainer was better than him in playing basketball, but the trainer could see his weaknesses and his strengths, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, and help him take him to where now, he's like probably if not one of the greatest players that ever played the game. Okay. So you got to get help, whether it's, you're having depression, that's at another level. You need to get help. If you're trying to get things to happen in your life, they're not happening, then you need to get help.
What about you, T? You got something on that one? Because I'm in my life.
I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory to me. So.
I got a few of them, so you might.
But I have a real question. I mean,
shoot.
For those who where it sounds, a lot of people are experiencing depression, don't even know they're depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some symptoms? What are some we need to look for? Because we're trying to help people. Maybe people in their family and our viewers who going through situations don't know that they're being depressed. And, you know, so what are some symptoms or something, signs to know that you probably experiencing depression?
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel like doing the things that you would normally feel like doing. Sometimes you don't feel like getting out of the bed. You don't feel like talking to people. You're not being sociable anymore. You feel overwhelmed. And these things you feel on a regular basis.
So do it have to be something that happened to cause these, or can it just, I'm saying everybody's experience is different. Don't get me wrong, but can it be a result of something that's happened to them at the time that caused
Absolutely.
them, or it
Absolutely.
could be some old,
It can be old stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it can be an event that happened that was really painful, like losing a parent, losing a child. That's very painful for people. And sometimes they never get past it.
Yeah.
So that's an event, but it could be something that happens during the course of their lives that happened over and over and over again. That's painful for them.
Sometimes there's things that happen that are unknown because they can happen in the womb with your mother.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of work with womb work and even what we call past life work that deals with stuff.
I know we got a little adolescent. I couldn't let this slide. I want to know, like, fuck application with that job. You work on wombs?
Well, no, we work with the fact that we all come from the womb. Okay, and what happens while we're there, those 9 months, can be a very beautiful experience for that fetus, or how many pregnant women are arguing and fussing and fighting and struggling with money and have all these other challenges that are going on. Guess what? And I mean, even for drugging, of course, we know when you're drugging, that goes straight in the fetus, right? But what about these emotions and the mental attitude that they have? All that also goes into the fetus. So you come into this world, and I've worked with many, many people, and they're struggling, and they can't figure out why they're struggling. Nothing's maybe real that should cause them or make them feel as if think that they're depressed, but it's from this experience of being in the womb. So you've got trauma that happens there, and you've got feelings and subtle things that can happen. And you may not even be aware of it because of some of the chemical imbalances that go on in your brain. And all of a sudden, anytime you see the color tan, you get a headache. But you don't know it because it just has to be the right frequency. I can look at this wall, and there's several, even though it's tan, there's different shades of tan in this wall. But that one little shade throws your system off. Because we're that sensitive.
You made me look at the wall. I want to ask y'all this question.
One more question for Andrew, because we want to discuss being denied and depression and things like that, because it's serious. So I have another question for you when it comes to that. If you don't mind talking about your personal experience, we don't get too.
Oh no, it's all in the book.
Right. So when you was going through your experience, were you by yourself? Were you lonely? Were you alone? Were you in a position where you felt, or was no one there for you to talk with? Because
Absolutely.
It seemed like you was like by yourself too much.
I was in a marriage. I had friends. We were going out with friends regularly. I had family members. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you are social. It's not like you don't have attachments, but you feel alone because there are these feelings that you don't necessarily want to discuss with other people. You don't feel like they will understand, and a lot of times they won't understand.
Not even your husband.
So not even no. And that's what I talked about in the beginning. He didn't understand. I think he thought that I was making it all up. It was all in my
You just don't want me no more, so now you can't talk to me. You telling me you felt you couldn't talk to your man?
Absolutely. I told him everything.
Oh, so you did talk to him.
I told him everything that was going on with me. Everything. Everything I felt. Everything that I even gave him information on once I was diagnosed. I gave him information on depression, what it was about, but I told him exactly how I felt, what I felt like I was going through, all of it, like I said, everything. But it's like, if you don't understand, you don't understand. Sometimes you can't even go there because, like I said, sometimes to people, it's like, you're just making this up. You're just sad through it. But it's like I was telling you, not just a sadness.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you're under a dark cloud, and everything that you think about is filled with pain. It's like everything makes you sad, everything makes you angry. I was very, very angry and I didn't realize it because I see myself as a very positive, upbeat person. So that didn't even fit the way that I see myself. But I was angry. I was really angry about everything that was going on in my life and not being able to put my finger on why I felt so bad. So I started doing all of these things. Yeah. I started doing all of these things to make myself feel better, but nothing made me feel better.
So we're not blaming nobody, but in defense, I'm just listening to this. I would be a little worried too if my wife talked like that, because it seemed like you just off, right? That's how it would be taken.
Right.
Because if you going to put a skull cap on talking about it snowing and it's really hot outside, how can I see it what you seeing, So that's scary. It's tough.
I understand. It is. It is scary. It is tough. But that's a part of, that's what people don't understand about mental disorders and mood disorders. It's not something that you can help. It's not something that you can just pull yourself out. It's
don't
deeper.
Sound like it. Right.
It's a lot deeper than that. And it's not like it's not like you're crazy, because some people say, well, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. No, you're not crazy. It's just something you need to release. Some things you need to release.
So you politely call them crazy. They need to release, because when they release, they back.
They come back to zero.
So
come back to zero.
Why you not right? So before you come back to zero, where are you now? Because once you release, before you release and get that out of your back to zero.
Stressed.
Yeah, you're stressed out.
You're stressed.
Yeah, you've been traumatized.
You're stressed.
Yeah, because you're stressed, you are a little.
That's what anxiety is.
Let's be real. Like stress. You're off.
Well, yeah, you're off balance. You're definitely off balance.
Right. I'm not trying to throw a term on you. Right.
You're not thinking clearly.
So you're off.
Yeah,
because you're not.
That's all I'm saying. So
but you
don't want to say you're not negative. I'm not trying to say everybody
negative. You don't want, because when you say, okay, well, they're crazy, people don't want to get help.
For instance, just a moment ago.
Okay, that's
when that's a good point.
Crazy. No, here, for instance, here's what happened. Just a moment ago, we said that people don't like you. And your system went off.
Right.
You were out of balance. Okay.
It was.
You was off.
You were off.
I was off. And it's back on you.
And so what happens is accumulation of this offness all of a sudden makes this weak. And this weakness, you feel, like she said, you don't feel like getting out of bed. And then somebody touches you the wrong way, you're irritated, you're angry, you're frustrated. You don't have, when you're strong and robust, somebody can bump up against you and it's no problem. But when you're weak, it's like, you almost get knocked over, and you're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And you stepped on my toe, and it's like, "Oh, sorry, dude." And dude's like, "Hey, let's fight," because he's so angry and frustrated. Now he's ready to take all this out on
somebody,
you. Right? You see, and so he's off, right?
Yeah, but thank you for taking my questions. I hope you don't take them personal. Just ask the real questions.
That's what I'm here for.
All right, thank you. Go ahead,
what's funny though is, my first marriage, I'm trying to make my example short and smooth and quick as possible. My first marriage, she was battling depression, and I didn't understand at the time. And it was like moments that I wish I could take back. In those moments when I was ignorant and naive about whatever it was. And one of the things, she wanted to take medication. And I didn't think she should take medication. I just wanted to give a, good old, find yourself try. Find yourself. What's stopping you from picking up that sock on the floor? I just don't feel like doing anything. I'm like, pick that sock up, though. That sock won't belong there. Pick it up. It was kind of like.
That happens a lot in the community.
Yeah.
In our community, where we think in terms of just get up and do it. Give it a good old try, manly try, or female try. You can do it, but it's so deep that it's beyond what we think that a person should be doing and feeling, because they're in it.
Right.
It's like they're in this void at that point of anger or frustration or worry, and it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it at the fact that I know I was ignorant, of what at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, I don't want to take our story and putting a negative on it, because I know it was a lot of stuff I didn't understand at the time, and I still don't to this day.
Yeah.
You know, some things I will never probably understand. You know, with that. You know, but one of the things that I, matter of fact, I just switch gears to the next question. How about that? Thought about what I was avoiding. Talk about. Thought about what I was avoiding. What was you avoiding?
At that point in time, when I was deep in the depression, I was avoiding a lot of stuff. First of all, I was avoiding thinking about the fact that my relationship was coming to an end, because we had been married for 23 years at that point. And I didn't want to be on the other side of that statistic. I didn't want to be divorced. And I figured, well, we've been together all this time. You know, why can't we make it work? So we actually went through therapy together. I was in therapy for the depression, but we went through couples therapy. And for a while, I thought that maybe we would be able to work it out. But it was that we didn't see the same futures for ourselves. He saw a different future than I did for myself. And that's not going to work because we couldn't come together on what we wanted for our future. So we ended up parting, but I was avoiding that. I was avoiding the fact that what I told you before about me thinking of myself as this bubbly, optimistic person and not really being that. I didn't want to see that in myself. I didn't want to know that I was this angry person, even though I know we have these stories in the back of our mind. We know what's really going on, but we don't want to acknowledge it. So I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that I was angry. I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that I was sad. I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that I was even going through depression. I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that the relationship wasn't working, especially to my family members, to his family members. It was like the stories that I had about the relationship, and that was one of the dominant things that I was avoiding, was that, well, what is his parents, what are they going to think? What is my mom going to think? What are our friends going to think? What will I do after? All of those thoughts kept me right there in the relationship, even knowing that it wasn't working, and it wasn't going to work because we didn't see a future. We didn't see the same future. So how can that work? But these stories kept me right there thinking about the stories and not about the future.
Things y'all avoid.
What I avoid?
Do y'all avoid anything, or is there anything you avoid with that question?
People I don't like.
Also,
I don't think there's too much I try to avoid, but I would imagine unconscious things I avoid, such as I'm not much on, like tearing people down. So those are things I avoid when I look at it. Yeah.
Okay. I just keep it moving.
What would you avoid? What you avoid?
I think I avoid, being offensively blunt. A lot of people think I'm rude. Because I think that's the technical definition of being rude. But I try to avoid it. I try to be, it's like I might make an assessment of a situation, and I might have a just in a raw, and I probably should give it like I think it, but I try to avoid that. I still get called rude, so I might as well stop trying to avoid it.
I don't think you're rude.
Yeah, I'm my girl. Like, my girl.
He's rude. You are rude.
Yeah, she's about the only one out of 30 people. Like, yeah, she's gonna be on the car on the way home.
You're not rude. You're not rude.
Thought about what it would take for me to feel more authentic. That's it. I like that.
What would it take for me to feel more authentic?
What it would take for me to feel more authentic? What would it take for you to feel like that? Like each one of y'all. TC started you.
You know what? For real,
sum it up.
One of my dreams. One of my
She
dreams.
look like TC.
And then she don't have no description.
She got to be rich. She got to shut up.
She got.
What she got to be?
She's got to fit my energy. And that would, because it make me feel authentic, because it justify how I feel I'm supposed to be treated anyway.
Okay. All right.
For me, one of the things I recognized earlier on, it's probably about 18, 19 at this time, I had learned to meditate. And so I had an experience, and it's continued to grow. And this experience was of my true authentic self, which was not this physical body limitation, but the spirit of me filled the entire room. And then it also filled the entire cosmos. Everything outside, I was that. And that was my authentic self. And then after that, talking about chasing a high, I started chasing that particular connection through meditation, without drugs, no drugs, just meditating. And that's when I recognized I can envelop that all the time. And so I kept working and that's why meditation, so that people can learn to connect with their true authentic self.
All right, that's deep.
Wow.
Man, Walter, who are you, man? Where you come from?
You teach this like with a class?
Yes.
Walter, you deep, man.
Man, I'm
Go
like,
ahead, Angela. I'm sorry, I don't know if you go by Angie. Do you go by Angie?
Either one.
You have
Angela,
to.
Angie
I
is
know
fine.
your name is Angie. It's like calling Robert Bob. Like,
Right.
I'm like, hey, my name ain't Bob. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. For me,
Talk about what it
staying true to my authentic self would be for me to get rid of the stories that stop me in different areas. So what I do right now is when I feel like there's something that is stopping me from achieving a goal, like even with the book, with talking about the book. Before I had a story that said, well, it's just a book. Other people have books. You don't need to talk about it. And then I had to get to the point where, no, this is my book. I'm promoting the book. So for me, it's getting rid of the stories that stop me from taking the next step. Because I wouldn't have met you if I hadn't taken the next step and had been talking about my book to somebody else. I wouldn't have been talking about my book.
Right.
So I had to get beyond that story, which caused me to be more authentic. I feel more authentic now because I don't have a lot of the. I still have stories.
So you feel
But I don't-
she
I
feel
still have
authentic,
stories that
bragging about herself.
this.
Like, I
I
wrote
still
a
have
book on this.
stories. Yeah, I still have stories that I have to get beyond in different areas of my life. So it's not like I have it all together because I don't. Because like I said, we have many stories in different areas, and some stories stop us, some stories don't.
how about you, Bob?
Oh man, what authentic? The word
Yeah.
authentic. What would make me feel? Let me see.
Yeah.
Thought about what I could do, make my life feel more authentic. Is that first of all, I put myself in other people's hypothetical reality. It's hypothetical for me, but it's their reality,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I look at their reality, and it's a hypothetical for me, but I really try to grasp their reality so I can know what type of assessment I may have at that situation if it hit me, hit my life,
Yeah.
because I can't experience everything you experience,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But so I gotta take your reality and make it a hypothetical. What would I do? That's what I think will make me more authentic, but it's unpredictable because 1 minute I think I know what I would do, but then it's like you might be the type that gets slapped on the cheek and I turn the other cheek. And I'm like, you know what? I admire that in him. I'm gonna do that. Then I get slapped on the cheek. And then it's like, oh, that don't apply.
Right.
So it's like, but I try to connect myself with being more authentic by those hypotheticals the closest I can. That's how I can make myself more authentic.
Why smack yourself so hard when you smack? Your first smack was out neat.
I think that's the best answer that I can make.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, it's very good.
Come on, what's the next one?
The
Make it
next one
random.
was decided I needed help. We're gonna start with you, Walter. Decided I needed help to get where I wanted to be.
Yeah, that's for me, that means finding a teacher, a coach. I've studied with probably, I know, close to over 100 different teachers in the mind, body, and spirit over the last almost 40 years now. And so that's one of the things I look at. When I think about that, I think about always aligning myself with people that have what I want, because they're the best coach, and they can help you get there the quickest. A lot of times people will align themselves with their buddies, and they don't have what they want, and so you guys end up going around in a circle.
Hold on, I want to read Jelaine comment, man.
Go ahead.
Jelaine, how you doing, Jelaine McBride Price? She says, I feel that. I guess you're talking about the pressure of denial. She says, sometimes I feel like my past mistakes stop me from being who I truly am. Like I'm not worthy of certain things because of mistakes I've made.
Yes.
Wow, appreciate that comment. Jelaine, you want to speak on that answer? Y'all want to talk to Jelaine?
Yeah, I would like to say first that she is, despite no matter what's going on, this is for everybody. We always feel as if, these mistakes and things that we've done, that was a moment ago. Now you can move forward. You're
move forward, Jelaine. You're free from it. Yeah. Move forward. Anything you want to say to it, Angela?
Well, it's important to know that we all make mistakes, and just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that you are a mistake, because sometimes we can't differentiate between that. We think because we make mistakes, there's something wrong with us. But we all make mistakes, and sometimes we have to make mistakes in order to go to the next level, because we have to learn something from whatever it is that we're going through. We have to learn something from that. So just know that just because you make mistakes does not mean that you are a mistake. That's or right. That there's something wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with you. We all make mistakes. You're okay.
I'm gonna start robbing everybody from their money. Yeah, I just want y'all to know it's just a mistake I'm making right now. I need this stuff right now. I'm gonna get better later. You know what I mean?
Oh wow. Do y'all do any kind of counseling for people, anything like that?
Yes, we both do.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So what would you tell someone who's
how long y'all been married again? I'm sorry. No, I'm serious.
Stop it.
I'm just joking. Y'all sound like a couple or something. Y'all sound like one.
Well.
Yeah. So what's your advice when someone been cheated on and they can't accept the fact that they've been cheated on? They have to let that go before they can move forward, right?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because it's right at the heart.
Right.
When you've opened yourself up to your partner, and you've given them the best that you have, and they turn around and tell you that's not good enough, and they're looking at somebody else that possibly has something that you don't have. Now you got to look at this person as being what I consider to be like you got to figure out how they died to you, and so it's like a death you're going through. And so the only way you go through that is by recognizing what Angela said, and that is that that is not you. That was a story. That's yesterday again. Today is another day. And the beautiful thing is, I don't know if people really know what 10 billion looks like, but when you look at 10 billion people, it's like we connect with this person, and we go through this little 30 years or whatever, 2 years or even 2 months of time, and we think that we've committed so much in the whole scheme of things, which is really like millions and trillions of years. This whole thing is going on, but we're just a little short span, and we connect with somebody and we get something from them, and we think that we got to force them, or they want to force us to be stuck to them, and we've changed. And so our goal is, how do we let go of, that person and allow them to be? If they have somebody else to get what they want, it's hard, but it's like we have to recognize then 10 billion. Okay, I can take one off of 10 billion, 99. People out there. So we'll find out who
we must be related somewhere.
Right, because I always thought I was
exactly like that.
My motto in life was, all right, I don't worry about nothing I can't control.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I don't worry about it.
But it's hard though.
I want to send out to me. First of all, Shad Curtis said, don't mind me, just watching the best show in town.
Much love, Shad. Much love, y'all.
Shad Curtis, that's what's up.
Jelaine said thank you too, Bob. Thank you, everybody.
Oh wow.
Okay. About.
Let me say this first, though, then you speak to it.
Okay.
Anybody, I just wanted you to post the question of the day. The worst, we only got about 10, 15 minutes left to the show. I want you to post the state you would not live in. And I'm going to read them real quick. If you post them real quick, I'm going to read them real quick. And then we're going to let Miss Denai say what she's going to say. Go ahead, Denai. Go ahead.
Getting back to the relationship, and it was if someone left for someone else.
Oh, someone cheated.
Cheated in the relationship. And the relationship is over? Or they're still together? Okay,
in turmoil right now.
Okay, they're in turmoil. So they're still together.
They're in turmoil.
Right.
Okay. The way I will handle it is, and my training program is all about relationships. And what I think is very important for people, not just women, but people in general, is to understand how to love yourself. What it really means to love yourself first, because sometimes we think we love ourselves, but we don't even like ourselves. So it's very important for us to get in touch with ourselves and really find out what makes us tick, what we really want out of a relationship. Look at the relationship. Is this a person I really want the relationship with? Is it something that needs to change in the relationship? Not necessarily me, because if they're cheating, that doesn't have anything to do with me. That has to do with them.
Yeah.
I'm a separate person, and I'm not in charge of what they do when they're not with me. That's on them. I'm going to be the best person I can be within this relationship, but I have to know about me. Do I really love me? And am I attracting the people in my life who love me or not?
Go ahead, Bob.
And one other thing with that, and that is the person that's being cheated on. A lot of times we think, again, we're just the other person. But you remember the thing about the stories, it's the story also that we're telling ourselves. Remember the little girl story I told you about, the little girl, the story she was telling herself about her father had the impact more on the father staying away. But once the little girl released that story that she was saying, in this case, it would be about maybe people cheating on her, or a spouse cheating.
Or feeling inadequate.
Or if it's the guy thinking that, his girl is going to cheat, then he's got to change that story. Unbeknownst to the person that's telling that story, they're putting the energy out there for that person to fall in line with that story, and they're giving them the reasons and all kind of nuances are going on to make that actually manifest in their lives, and so they have to get rid of them.
Yeah, because we have stories within the relationship that we have about that person we're in a relationship with.
Yes.
We have stories about the relationship, the whole relationship, and then we have stories, that when we think about how we interact with that person, we have stories about that. So if the stories that we have about the relationship and about the person are negative, guess what? The relationship is going to be in conflict.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Recruited trusted loved ones to support me during my restoration process.
Do I think that's true? You saying?
No, who did you recruit trusted loved ones to support you during the restoration process?
I
Go ahead. Let Angela crank it off, because that was just her comment.
Okay. I actually didn't tell a whole lot of people what I was going through. When I was experiencing anxiety and depression, I didn't tell a whole lot of people, because I didn't feel like, and I wrote this in the book, I didn't feel like they would understand. I didn't feel like I didn't know whether I would get the support that I needed. And I really needed to talk to someone who I felt would be impartial and wouldn't take my business to somebody else. I didn't want to hear about, what I went through, with somebody else. And so I told very few closest people. So at the time I was married. So my husband, my mother, and my sister.
Walter, when you was going through your thing, who did you recruit? What trusted loved one did you recruit? Whatever you may have been going through, it might have been a moment of confidence.
Well, earlier on, I was once married and went through a divorce, and so, but at that time, I didn't have the information I have now.
Right.
So, a lot of what I did is what most black men do: is we keep the information, and then we go home and we cry late at night in the dark.
Yeah.
We keep fighting our way through it, struggling, trying to figure out, and then we go out and we don't never really take care of. So there was no one to talk to. The other brothers that were around us, I shared with, but we can only go so deep because of the fact we like to laugh and play a little bit more about issues. And that was cool, because the laughter is always great. The camaraderie that we can have is always great. But to really go deep into it, they didn't have the tools to do that. And so, and again, this is why Angela talked about, and I also talk about, is that we have to find mentors and people that have what we want. And sometimes it means, a mentor may mean, like, if you hurt yourself, you need to go see a doctor. He's going to mentor you through the healing process so you can get your arm fixed or whatever is wrong. And the same thing when it comes to these pains that we go through in relationships. So who do you go see? Some people go to their pastors, and that's cool. But your pastor really isn't a relationship specialist. He's talking about one specific relationship where you're talking about another relationship. So some people say, no, my pastor, and that's good. And I'm glad you have that. But sometimes you need to step out and you need to find somebody that can actually work with you and your partner about real that have nothing to do with, unfortunately, maybe belief system as much as what's really happening right now. So that you can, that you can really get in the dirt and talk about what's not happening in this relationship based on you being a man and you being a woman, what you really want versus about what,
Right. You can't tell your pastor, like, saying she has some tight pants on or was shaking her booty everywhere.
Right.
You can't go tell your pastor.
Yeah.
I get it. I get your
point. You got to have somebody that you can really work with and that's really willing to work and give you some honest answers so that you guys can rise above. And if you can do that, there's a really interesting story about what's called skeleton women. And that is once you come past that stuff and you heal, what starts to happen is the two of you let go in a way that's unbelievable and you can start to trust. Because when you come together, everybody usually comes together and they're putting their best foot out. They don't want you to see all this raggedy stuff they got with them. But that raggedy stuff is going to come out as you get more relaxed in the relationship.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you can't stand to see just whatever you're looking at. And you're arguing and you're at each other. And so then what happens is you're in divorce court. All this stuff.
You've been married. I can imagine you getting a divorce, man. You got such power.
Well, no, I didn't have the information. I had a lot. Divorce was
Steve Harvey,
because it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot.
That's Steve Harvey, man. He the expert now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Yeah. And then then the
we all.
I think the inward part, which is really important, if you're in a relationship, you got to do the inner work. Most people, we don't know anything about the inner work. Right. That's 99% of who you are. Yes. This 1% that we're expressing out here, and we think that we're all, this is what's really going on. We're missing it.
Right.
Yeah. There's some power and some beauty that's inside of us. Yeah.
The other stuff we're missing.
Yeah. TC, what you got, man? Be quick.
Real quick. I'll be honest. Before my healing was another woman, so. That's how I felt.
Yeah,
I'm just being honest. You made me feel like I ain't who it is. I need to see is it me or you, and I go find out it wasn't me. But then now, I'm matured, older. I go off. I don't really talk to everybody because I feel everybody has been through my experiences. So I have my own little moments when I keep my that I get myself out with myself. Mm-hmm. I do. I mean, it works.
Yeah.
Because what I believe in is like, since I lost my mother, it's like my sister moved out of town, so I don't really hear. I talk to my boys, like he said, about certain stuff, but I ain't finna tell Bob, man, my heart broke. I'm not finna tell Bob that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what you have to find. Me, I find I find who I am.
With that, I was over in India. And strange thing I saw over in India was men that were best friends, and they might be friends now, they're older men. When they see each other, they'll greet and then they'll walk and they'll talk. But what they do is so strange is that they'll hook baby fingers together.
What?
Yeah, they hook baby fingers and they're walking around and they're talking to each other. And I'm looking at something. Okay, so my thoughts immediately were that there was a lot of maybe gay people in India, And so then that was one thing. The next thing I saw was I wanted to get some electricity and I was going to shoot some video at the beach. And this guy said, I can come by his shop and I can plug in and run an extension cord out and shoot this video. So I'm like, great. So I get there early in the morning and I open the door to the back where they're at. And there's about 20 men all laid together spooning. And I'm like, what the heck?
Spooning.
Wow,
okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is India. But they have this brotherly connection. It wasn't sexual going on.
Spooning ain't sexual?
Well, and see, this is the thing, because mostly when we touch, we're thinking invasion towards sex or fighting. But see, there's a whole big spectrum, right? There's a spectrum between, fighting and touch.
Yeah, they can have it.
I want this full spectrum.
Whatever it is in India,
But
they can
that's-
have
that's-
that.
but no,
They can have
here's-
this. They can have that.
Right.
Yeah, they can have all that. but what I'm getting at,
what if it be snaking on each other? None of that. Well, go ahead.
but the piece is that if you can imagine emotionally and mentally our spectrum, which goes from here to here, here to here, we don't get to realize all of the variations of who we are. And this is because of the stories lock us one way or they lock the push out. So
I want to find
we
out.
call attraction and repulsion.
Real quick, Walt, plug yourself. How
Yeah.
can somebody get in contact with you? Real quick.
Okay, you can reach me at radiantliving.com, and there's a spot you can actually put information in, what's called an opt-in page. Give me your email name, and I'll connect you up with some things that are going on.
That's what's up.
Angela, Taylor, plug yourself real quick.
beautyandvanity.com. You can get the book, The Beauty and Vanity of Denial, for beautyandvanity.com/special.
Yeah.
To
There we
get
go.
the book. The book is $19.97. Or if you want to opt in for my webinar, you can also opt in to my webinar, beautyandvanity.com/special.
Give it up, Bob. Give it up.
Jose Mobile TV.
Let's do it y'all. IntellectualRadio.com, y'all. 42.
All right. Great show, man.
Wow.
Enjoyed you guys, man.
Man, we enjoyed
That
y'all,
was
man.
great.
Really.
Appreciate y'all.
See.
Being
Down.
being down to earth and not sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the eyes for me. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Life's not your